Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It's December 2nd. This will be our chart lesson for today. And we had a really nice, healthy 45-degree angle, two-tiered channel on the way up today. Um, this is the way I saw it. It could have been that this was a little higher here, and then maybe this was a little bit more like so. At the end of the day, that's kind of how I see it. Um, Earlier on, I had it. Well, I was playing it like you saw. So, but anyway, towards the end of the day, this probably looks a little more valid here. Um, didn't matter if you played it like this; it got you out where you needed to get out for the most part, and it still allowed you to take this trade, and you could have ridden it up and gotten the most out of it. So, but that's how I originally was playing it most of the day, and by the time I was done, um, that's how I was still playing it that way. So I still like that. It seems to fit well with it. We just had a couple of overshoots here. So it didn't matter. This was the one that really mattered that you got it right. And if you played it this way, it really helped you off this midline as well. So um, although really there was only one good setup um, off that midline, this one never even got back to it. And this one was really tempting, but when you started getting all those matching highs across there, you had to be really careful about going long there. And okay, had a slight interruption. I think we were talking about this area right in here, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. This was a little tricky right here, but only real clue was how flat that is, and all those matching highs, and all the little dojis, and there's actually a short right there, but I think it was a little dangerous taking it, so I didn't circle it. I really thought about that for just only a few minutes, but after looking at it, I think I'm gonna circle it. If you saw that um, that little trap there, and you took it short, there was because you really were looking for prices to come back down here, and they didn't do it, and then you get a little trap right here, and it goes the other way. So, but let's back all the way up, start at the first trade here. This one, this short was a little bit iffy. It's a nice second. You had a big move down. Um, Notice how we went right through the EMA there, and it comes back, and you get a first entry short, pull back, and there's a second entry. It's a fairly bearish bar, but you got that doji in there, and you got another doji right there, and prices are above the EMA. You wouldn't have really had the channel yet. You probably would have just drawn these first two swings here, and trying to make it fit up here would have been a little tricky just yet. Because you probably would have had this up here at that point, maybe even right there, which is, and that's probably why this was a little tricky the way it was with these couple of pushes up, because people weren't, there just wasn't enough price action up here to really confirm anything until you got these couple of swings. Um, you really probably could have found this for sure after this one, but before that it was a bit a little bit iffy. So, so this one's it's just a little bit questionable. It's a little bit aggressive. There is a short there, um, but it's a real aggressive one for all the reasons I just stated. But that's a nice bearish bar. If it would have broke one tick lower and closed, probably would have liked it better. And then it broke higher and turned down again. But I think it's even getting more risky going short down in here. So I think you were better off just to sit tight and see if this trend line was going to get confirmed here and it go higher. And that's what happened. Notice that new high pull back. There's actually a little break higher right here, but that's almost that's two legs in one leg, and then you get another little couple of legs down. So really, the second entry was here, but that's so close right there, and there's a little short-term trend line there. You can see that, and then you get your break and you move to a new low. Um, so there's some reasons to consider going short there. There's enough room to get out, but I just think it's a little risky. So I think you're better off to wait on that break and the new low, and then go long if it bounces off that trend line, which it does. It gives you a long. Then it pulls back. This is not a great setup here, but notice where it bounced right off that line again, and then you can't ignore that. And you got this low here, and you tried to go lower once, twice, three times. There's really kind of a little support area right across there, and this is like a little failed break lower, and then it tested again. Might as well draw it. A lot of times this stuff is not, if you don't draw your lines, you don't always see all this stuff. It makes it so much clearer and easier to see. So I always tell people, make sure you draw your lines. And then you can see that right there. And you got the little break lower, then it comes back and tests it again and then goes higher. So I like that for a long, even though that's not a really nice signal bar, just because it's another test of that trend line and it really confirms it. And then you come back here, and there's a second entry long here, but notice it's below the EMA. We weren't back to the trend line yet. If you took it and you had your stop one tick below it, you would have got stopped out. But if you kept it at least below this one, and this is really, you'll hear me say this a lot of times, this is really the low that mattered right here, because this one was not really, this is your low of your swing, the swing low, even though this is another swing low, a little bit higher. The market's not done yet, and so notice it ends up making that double bottom and shooting up. So if you went long right there and you had your stop one tick below, you got stopped out. Nothing much you could do, but the clue is you're not back to the trend line. And notice what happens as soon as it touches it, it breaks lower, touches that line, immediately reverses, and goes right out the other side. Just go long right there. And that's the trade of the morning, really, so far. This was not a bad move here, but this one, look at it go. And any runners would have never gotten challenged after that. And then, of course, you correct off the upper side. There's a second entry long there. This one's really tempting, but look at your little channel, and there's no, I mean, it turns down. I mean, there's no break of that yet. And so you just kind of got to sit tight. And you get an overshoot here, which a lot of times when you get an overshoot, it's going to go higher, and you may not get a new low. And notice when it pulls back here and turns up, you don't get a new low. And notice how that midline's holding. And this was just one tick from closing on its very high. Notice all that stem there. So I like this for a long, thinking, you know, that the midline is going to hold, and we're probably headed to the top again, and that's right where we go. And then, of course, we're moving down. It pulls back. And this is almost a repeat pattern. I had to really, the only reason I didn't like going long here was because now you've had your break, and it pulls back and it bounces off that line again, and everything closes above it. But I'm sorry, I got distracted there. Somebody's trying to get a hold of me. I'm not going to stop the video. I'm just going to call them back. But it tries to go higher. Notice how close it is to those highs, and notice where the closes are. So there's only like one tick in there to those closes. So I just didn't like that one. And this was the open from the previous day, right there. Notice that yellow line. And so that's an important spot that you got to pay attention to. But notice we tested it once, twice. This is like the double test rule. It was really tempting to go short there. It's a second entry short, but the trend is up, and so you just had to kind of wait. And then when it broke higher again, you got that trap. I think it's a little risky because you're still above that EMA or that midline. Prices are still closing above the EMA, although they're right along it. There's some reasons to take that short, though. I really wanted to go long here, to be honest with you, but when you couldn't break back above after that, after this bar, especially when that one didn't, it's too late to go long there. You just got too much congestion, too much overlap. It's probably going to, whichever way it breaks, it's probably going to fail. And it's probably going to fail both ways, which it does. It fails, it goes down, and then it breaks out the lower side and fails again, although there's enough room you're thinking here too is that you're probably coming down to this line, although you never get there. So that's another reason to, if you want to be aggressive, to go short there. And it was a fairly quick move. You can see how everybody had to exit. And if you were real aggressive, you might even go long there, but I think you're better to wait and see if you get a trap and it turns down and you get the second entry long right there. And then you get the failed second entry short right here, and that's the one, that's the better one, and it's really close to that top again now. But notice how you've had your trap, and this is like the failed second entry short that really traps people. It bounced off the EMA. It's closing back above the midline. You're probably going to make a new high here. And notice you did get your break and a move to a new low here on this particular channel. And off it goes. And then you get another failed second entry short here. It's really late in the day, but it's still early enough to take another trade. And this turned out to be a really good trade. Notice that low there, first entry short, pull back, and even though it didn't break lower, it's still just like a second entry short. And if you went to another chart, it would be a failed second entry short, and it turns back up. I think you want to use the limit order here because it's so close to that high. If you wait and just use a stop, you're going along right into that high. But notice how we didn't get to the upper line yet. It means there's still room for more movement possibly there. It also means that you're also looking for a new high because of this channel right here. That's the first break. And you're looking for a new high too. So there's some other reasons to like that to the long side. There's a second entry long right here, but I didn't like it as much because you got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 4 overlapping bars. A couple of them are dojis. There's a good chance you're going to get that trap. And this is almost a repeat of this little pattern here. Notice how that looks very, very similar. You just didn't get that one little tick lower. So anyway, I liked it for a long for those reasons. And I didn't mark anything after that. It's really too late in the day. And there really was not anything else it's set up either. So good trading day. Nice trend. Nice, easy to see 45-degree angle there. So sets up really nice. It was nice to have some movement today. Plenty of volume. What we really got were a lot of big moves, and then it just kind of gets slow, and then you get a big move, and that's kind of typical. After these big moves, the market consolidates a little bit, and then a big move, and it consolidates a little bit, and then a big move. But that's not unusual at all. So really fairly typical. So the main line that you really wanted to see was this one, and of course it helped if you use this for your midline as well. Although in the end, like I said, this really fits pretty well right here. And you still get the same outcome for the most part. Doesn't change a whole lot. But I still think this is it, and that's the way I played it for the day. So, but anyway, there's not much more we can say about today. Nice uptrend, nice two-tiered channel. Could find this really by 8:30 to 9 o'clock. You should have had this. You really should have had it right here at 8:30 when you got it. The first two set up the trend line. This confirmed it. And this was just another additional confirmation of it here. So, and then you got another one right there. And what was interesting, the market was just too strong to even get back down in the lower part the rest of the day. So, but that's what I saw today. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Again, there's not much else we can say about today. Not a lot of trades today, but there's some very good ones. You didn't need a lot of trades today. You only needed to get 2 or 3 of these and get a runner, and you make some pretty good money. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back to do it again tomorrow. This is Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.